Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Profit Podcast. How are you all doing tonight? We're live on YouTube, we're live on TikTok, and we're recording for the podcast. It'll be up very shortly after finishing the live stream. We're going to get into week 11, the preview. Sunday starts tomorrow, the football games start, and week 11 at this point, you're playing for your playoffs. This is when your playoff matchups are in play. You win this week and you might be getting that lock towards that first place bye. You lose this week and you might be out of the playoffs. So this is crucial time. This is critical fantasy football season. These are the most important parts. So we're going to go through pretty much every matchup, and I'm going to tell you which players that I have a special opinion on. If I don't mention a player, it may not be because I don't like them. I just feel like their value is known by most. So you'll catch along. But if I don't mention specifically Ryan Tannehill, that doesn't mean I think he's going to do horribly. It just means that I think his projection that I'm seeing on ESPN or Sleeper or by the mainstream media, I think it's accurate, and I don't have a reason to say anything about it. So let's hop right into this. The Titans Ravens 6-3. Both teams are 6-3. This is going to be a great game to watch at the 1 o'clock. Lamar Jackson, big week in store for Lamar Jackson. So I was an advocate. I think in January I made a video. It was my way too early bold prediction podcast. And I said that I think Lamar Jackson is going to be a bust, especially based on ADP. So far, he has been a bust. You look at him, he's the number 10 quarterback. That doesn't sound that bad, but he was drafted not only to be the number 1 quarterback, but to be by far the number 1 quarterback. When you drafted him, you weren't saying, I think he'll be the best. He has to be miles ahead of every other quarterback in order to live up to that ADP. So far, he's not done it. He has not put up 30 points in a single game this season. For reference, by week 2, he put up 2 30-point games. Last year, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games with 30-plus fantasy points. Keep in mind, in many of those games, he did not play in the fourth quarter. This season, we're in week 11. He doesn't have a single game with 30-plus fantasy points. He's just not doing that well. But I think in this matchup against Tennessee, he finally puts up the game we've been waiting for. He finally puts up that massive 30-point performance, 80 yards rushing and a touchdown, another 253 touchdowns through the air. I think he puts up a great game this week. Tennessee has been struggling against quarterbacks. They allowed Phillip Rivers to do well. That's saying a lot. They allowed 18 fantasy points to Phillip Rivers. Just saying. They've been struggling against the quarterback this year. So I think Lamar Jackson is going to have a very good week against Tennessee. And it's going to show us what we've been hoping for when it comes to Lamar Jackson. Other players in this game, I think Derrick Henry has a massive bounce back. Baltimore doesn't look like a great matchup, but I think he's good enough that the matchup doesn't matter that much. And he's had 3 down weeks, I guess, or 4 down weeks. It depends on what you want to call a down week for Derrick Henry, but especially the past 2 weeks, 6 points and then 12 points. Not that great. Not what you're hoping for at all for Derrick Henry. I think he has a big week this week, probably a touchdown or 2 from Derrick Henry. So I'm starting him. Obviously, you're starting him, but I'm confident in him this week. Wasn't as much last week or the week before, but this week I really think he's going to have a good game. Now the Ravens side of the ball, the running backs and the Ravens side of the ball, you can't start anyone. You can't start any of them, I don't think. Dobbins, Ingram, Edwards. Dobbins and Edwards. It was looking good when Ingram was out. We were saying, hey, we got this kind of dual back tandem. It's good. They're both kind of startable, and both of them have upside. And then Mark Ingram came back, and all the fantasy value is gone. So staying away there. AJ Brown, you're obviously starting. He should have had a very good game last week. He dropped a 70-yard touchdown. Oh my goodness. Apart from that, though, he's been great this season when he's been on the field. 21 points, 22 points, 28, 12, 21, 3. That's an anomaly. I think he'll bounce back. Marquis Brown has been awful this year. He really has. He has like 2 good games. He's not reliable. He's big play dependent. He's what Robbie Anderson has been most of his career. He's kind of taken over that role in the NFL as being the guy who's frustrating and you can't start ever, but he will put up some huge games. It's worth noting Marquis Brown has some phenomenal matchups from here on out. Pretty much every single game for Marquis Brown is a plus matchup. Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Dallas, Cleveland, Jacksonville, Giants. So they're all plus matchups for the wide receiver position. Tennessee has been struggling against the wide receiver position, especially these fast guys. We saw what Michael Pittman did against them. And then Pittsburgh, where they've been struggling are the deep shots, the deep routes with the wide receivers, and that's what Marquis Brown excels at. And then Dallas is awful. Cleveland and Jacksonville, he can do it. So Marquis Brown, probably unowned at this point in your league. I think you should pick him up this week, and I think he's a flex, and you're going to be hoping for that big play. But if that big play comes, that gives me some confidence that these next 4 or 5 weeks against Pittsburgh, Dallas, Cleveland, Jacksonville, he can be started. So I think this is the week, the make or break week for rest of season when it comes to Marquis Brown's value. This is the make or break season. I'll talk about it when we get to my selections for PrizePicks, but Marquis Brown is someone that I'm considering taking the over on this week. Alrighty, Detroit, Carolina. Very frustrated about this. Very, very frustrated about this. I was so ready for Deandre Swift. So ready for Deandre Swift. I made the videos about him, made the article about him. I believed in him. I fully believed in him. I still do. He just got a concussion, and he's not playing this week. And I don't want to overreact, but it gives me Kerryon Johnson vibes. I know the concussion is less serious than whatever MCL issues Kerryon Johnson had, but it's frustrating when a player is breaking out mid-breakout and he gets hurt. It's very frustrating. You worry that he won't get that opportunity to take over the backfield that we've been hoping for. I still think he will. It's just going to be a little more difficult, especially if Peterson or Johnson looks good this week, which is possible because the Panthers defense has been horrible against the run. And that's what's so frustrating is that I think Peterson or Johnson will have a good game. I'm not starting them, but if you're a Deandre Swift owner, you have to be hoping that Peterson and Kerryon Johnson are just awful tomorrow. Because that means that when Swift is back, there's nowhere else for them to turn. You gotta hope Peterson and Johnson are just dreadful. If one of them rips off, a 20-year run, it's capiche for Deandre Swift right now. So very frustrated about that. Hopefully he's back next week. Now, quarterback side of the ball, not exactly excited. Bridgewater, he should play. They're not really sure if he's going to play. It's slated as a game time decision right now. I think he's startable against Detroit. You probably have better options, though. And Matthew Stafford, some people are worried about that hand injury. I'm not really worried. He's been good when he's been healthy. I think he's startable. You probably have better options, though. Now, Mike Davis, he should have a big week. He's really he's really run out of juice past couple of weeks. He started off the season with what 23, 22, 29 points, and then 11, 8, 8, 8, 8. 8.6, 8.7, 8.7, 8.4. A model of consistency. My goodness, he's probably the most consistent running back in the league. I mean, that is that's crazy how consistent he's been. Unfortunately, it's been consistently bad. Against Detroit, can he put up one of his vintage Mike Davis games? That's not a sentence that should exist. Vintage Mike Davis games. I think he can. I think Mike Davis can have a vintage Mike Davis game and put up 16 plus points against Detroit. Detroit is that bad. They just allowed a big game from the running back position. They've been doing it all year. I think Mike Davis. I think he can do it this week. I think he can. So I'm starting him. The wide receivers are gross right now. Robbie Anderson has been the most consistent, most reliable. DJ Moore's got the most upside. And then Curtis Samuel is sometimes really good and sometimes gets 2 points. So Anderson and Moore starting as wide receiver twos. Curtis Samuel starting as flex if I have to. That's where I stand with them. And you just gotta hope that they get the touchdown or the big play. TJ Hawkinson, only tight end in this matchup that matters. Starting him, he's a start every week. Alrighty. Philadelphia, Cleveland. Oh gosh, this is a gross game. So Myles Garrett is out, which actually bodes well for this Eagles offense. I'm not excited about starting Carson Wentz. Not excited. 2 straight 8-point games. He was exciting earlier when he was putting up 25 points a game, but he's been on the decline lately. Miles Sanders a must start. He's always a must start when he's playing. And then Travis Fulgham, does he bounce back? I do. I think he bounces back. He's got a much better matchup. He's not facing James Bradbury. With Myles Garrett out, that gives Carson Wentz more time, more opportunity. So I think Fulgham is a good start this week. Rager is riskier. He's got the same good matchup, and he's been pretty good when he's actually on the field healthy. I like Fulgham more than Rager, but I'm okay starting him as a flex. Alrighty. On the other side of the ball, we got Baker Mayfield. Are we starting Baker Mayfield? No, no, no. Listen to these points totals. They're bad, guys. They're bad. 5 points, 29, 7, 5. Yeah, no. And Philadelphia isn't a great matchup. That's not a great matchup. So no, not starting Baker Mayfield. Nick Chubb, we are starting. He's an RB1. Kareem Hunt, we are starting. He's an RB1. You're starting both of them every single week in every single format. Jarvis Landry, Rashad Higgins, every pass catcher for the Browns, I'm benching. I'm gonna make this simple. If they're not named Kareem Hunt or Nick Chubb, bench them. Austin Hooper, uh, none of the tight ends are interesting. They've got the good matchup, but it's a touchdown dependent situation. They're guys I like more. All right, moving on. Patriots Texans. Newton. Are we starting Cam Newton this week? Newton is interesting because he's been pretty good, 18, 24, 18 or 16. He had that one horrible week against San Francisco. Uh but he's been a fantasy start. He's been start worthy past 3 weeks. Houston is a great matchup, so I do like Cam Newton as a start this week. Which sounds weird saying because people are very low on Cam Newton, but I do like Cam Newton as a start. Deshaun Watson, he should bounce back. Not a good matchup, but you're starting him if you have him. Let's be honest, you're not going to bench Deshaun Watson. Now this running back situation is weird for the Patriots. Rex Burkhead, Damian Harris, both have been very good at what they do. Damian Harris has been a phenomenal runner. Listen, the yards per carry, 5.8, 6.4, 5.1, 5.5. Most efficient running back right now. He's phenomenal. Past 3 weeks, he doesn't have a target. That's not good if you're in a PPR league. That doesn't give him a safe floor. Rex Burkhead is getting the touchdowns. So if we could combine Rex Burkhead and Damian Harris, we'd have like a Christian McCaffrey light, and I'd be very excited about it. But because we can't, it's really just kind of risky. We need Damian Harris to get 160 yards if we want him to have a good fantasy game. And that can happen in this matchup against Houston, but he's really it's hard. It's hard to bank on that. So I think he's a decent RB3 flex just because he's involved and he's efficient and he's talented. And same goes with Burkhead just because he's getting the receptions and the touchdowns lately. So not excited about either though, really. Not really excited. Wide receiver position for the Patriots, Jacoby Myers starting past 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. He's been good. Against Houston, that's a great matchup. He should have a good game. Only one I'm starting though. And then for the Texans, Duke Johnson. Are we interested in Duke Johnson? Nope. Nope. Not interested in Duke Johnson. Nope. Will Fuller, are we interested in? Not that much, no, because um the Patriots shut down the number one option for whatever team they're going against, and Will Fuller right now is the number one option, and I think he might get kind of shut down. And we see this from Will Fuller. He does get shut down every once in a while. But Brandon Cooks, I like. I like Brandon Cooks this week very much. He's had some really good games recently. Since week 5, he's been a good wide receiver. 31 points, 21 points, 13 by week, 17-9. And I think that he might become the number one in this game because Will Fuller is reduced to an afterthought for this offense. So I do like Brandon Cooks, don't like Will Fuller. All right, next one, Pittsburgh Jaguars. Ben Roethlisberger start. James Conner start in this matchup. He's been awful for the past 2 weeks, but he should bounce back. Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, start them all as wide receiver 2s, and know that any of them and all of them can be wide receiver 1s. It's beautiful. Deontay Johnson is my favorite. Is my favorite of them right now. And I really like Claypool and Smith-Schuster too. So Schuster has been great recently. So yeah, start them all as wide receiver 2s and know that any and all of them can become wide receiver 1s. Jake Luton, are we starting? No, we're not. James Robinson, are we starting? Yes. Yes, of course we're starting James Robinson. Guys, why would you not start James Robinson? He hasn't had a bad week, really. Even last week, his down week, he had 14 points. Against Pittsburgh, he's going to get enough volume. He's good enough. He's going to have a good game. Start James Robinson. Speaking of which, if you use my promo code for PrizePicks and make the deposit, you can win a James Robinson autographed mini helmet. I don't want to spam that too much, but guys, that is cool. A James Robinson autographed mini helmet. Use the promo code. That's exciting. DJ Chark, are we starting? Oh, a really risky play. Extremely risky play. Most people who have DJ Chark at this point probably have to start him either as a flex, especially with the injuries and bye weeks. You're gonna need him and Luton to connect on a deep bomb. One thing to take note of is there could be enough garbage time if the Steelers get out to an early lead that last 5 minutes he has 6 receptions for 60 yards and saves your fantasy performance. So I think he is a decent play. Not excited though. All right, Matt Ryan against the Saints, we're starting. Taysom Hill, we're starting as a tight end. Todd Gurley, we're starting because we have to, because he's getting touchdowns in every single game. He's so inefficient, it's painful. 2.4 yards per carry, 2.7, 2.6, 2.8. Ugh, this matchup is gross. But he's the top 12 running back right now. We're starting him. You don't have a better option. I don't expect a good game. I do expect him to get a touchdown, though. Alvin Kamara, I don't need to talk about him. Latavius Murray, no, I don't need to talk about him either. Julio Jones, don't need to tell you to start him. Calvin Ridley, start if he's healthy, don't start if he's not. Pretty obvious. Michael Thomas, we're starting. What do we know about Michael Thomas this week? I have no idea how to project Michael Thomas. I don't know. I have no clue. I'm starting him and I'm hoping for the best. We don't know though what Taysom Hill is like as a quarterback. We have no idea. If anyone says to you they know how Taysom Hill and Michael Thomas are going to play, they're lying. They don't. We don't know. We have no clue. We can hope that it's great. It could be awful. We just don't know. But you're starting Michael Thomas. You have to. I hope it's good. So I've got him in like 3 leagues. I really hope it's good. Could Jared Cook see a big game since Taysom Hill is a tight end throwing to a tight end? Are we looking for that magical tight end connection? There is a chance Cook has a good game just because Hill probably won't be super comfortable throwing long, and he may really depend on these short routes. So if the tight end's landscape is gross, Cook is a decent start. Cincinnati, Washington. I got to race through these last couple ones because my computer's about to die. Bengals football team. Benching Burrow. Not excited about Bernard, but he's startable in PPR leagues. Boyd and Higgins, I'm starting. Probably not starting Green right now. Other side of the ball, Alex Smith is a desperation start, and a good one at that. Peyton Barber and Antonio Gibson starting as RB2s, hoping they can be RB1s. Very possible for both of them. And then Terry McLaurin, I am starting. Terry McLaurin is my boom of the week. Terry McLaurin has been on an absolute tear this season. So Terry McLaurin starting, full confidence, 100%. He's going to be amazing. He's projected, what is he projected right now? 17 points. That is a travesty. He's getting at least 24 fantasy points. Huge week for Terry McLaurin coming on. And Logan Thomas, we're starting to, because Alex Smith is going to go for 500 yards, and Thomas will get the ball. I mean, he's been a good tight end recently, and the tight end scheme is gross. A Washington football team, though, is actually a defense I'm interested in starting. They're going to sack the crap out of Joe Burrow. That's all I know. They may force a turnover or two, but they're going to sack him like 5 times. Worst offensive line versus one of the best rushes. Yeah, I know it's Cap. He's not throwing 500 yards. I'm exaggerating for the sake of this. People are calling me out in the live stream comments. Yeah, he's not going to throw 500 yards, but he's going to throw a lot of yards. Come on. So I do think Washington football team takes the lead. I got to go 1 second, guys. I got to get my charger. Holy smokes. My computer battery is on 2%. Be right back. 1 second. All right, I'm back. Had to get the charger. All right, save the computer at the last second. Sorry about that, guys. Where were we? All right, let me restart the audio. There we go. So Washington, I think, will get the win. Moving on now to Miami versus Denver. Miami's defense is going to win people weeks. They're the number 4 defense in fantasy football. They've been doing really well. 15, 25, 11, 6. They've been doing well. They've got Denver, Giants, and Cincinnati coming up. Starting them in all those 3 matchups. But I want to point out Drew Lock. He's expected to play. He's been on an interception streak for a while now. 2 interceptions, 1 interception, 1 interception, 4 interceptions. That's 10 interceptions in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. That's so bad. That is so bad. Also, he's fumbled twice. And he's been sacked like 15 times. Drew Lock is going to feed this Miami defense fantasy points. It's not going to be funny. It's not going to be funny. Miami's defense is going to just have a feast on Drew Lock's flesh. Also, I love the possibility that Drew Lock might not play, and it's going to be Brett Ripien. That's exciting if you own the defense. Alrighty, so are we starting Tua? Yeah, Tua is once again startable. He's not been bad. He's not been phenomenal fantasy-wise, 21-14. Not phenomenal fantasy-wise, but he's startable in these matchups. Salvin Ahmed, learned how to say his name. He's startable too. He's been really good. 5.4 yards per carry, 4 yards per carry. He's been getting volume. What's exciting is that this team goes with a workhorse running back. It really seems. Matt Breida is coming back. Hopefully that doesn't change too much. But it was the Myles Gaskin show, and now it's hopefully the Ahmed show. So I think Ahmed is running back 3, flex play. And Breida is a very, very desperate flex play in PPR leagues. A very, very desperate play. Get that straight. Devontae Parker, he hasn't been good. He's got a good matchup. He's a low-end option right now. Not super excited about him. Who am I starting on the Broncos side of the ball? Melvin Gordon? No. Phillip Lindsay? No. Jerry Jeudy? No. KJ Hamler? No. Tim Patrick? No. Noah Fant? Maybe. It's bad for the Broncos, guys. It's bad. It's gross. It's not good. I don't really want to start any of them. I don't really want to start any of them. It's gross. I guess you could start Jerry Jeudy if you have to, as a flex low end, just based on hopefully the volume will be there. But I don't want to start any of them. All right, final one, almost final one. We got Jets Chargers. Are we starting Joe Flacco? If you have to, he's startable. If you're insanely desperate, you can start Joe Flacco. I hope you're not that desperate. I hope you're not. But he had 20 points against New England. He had 13 against Arizona. I'm not going to recommend starting him, but you can. You can. Yeah, guys, people are coming at me in the comment section now for saying you can start him. No, I don't like starting him. I think you can. I will say there are worse options. Worse options would be Jake Luton and Drew Lock. So he's very low in my ranks. But you can start him over them. Now, Justin Herbert, love him this week against the Jets. He's been absolutely on fire. He's the number 8 quarterback in fantasy. I really love him in fantasy, and he's got a really juicy matchup against the Jets. So I'm starting him. Kalen Ballage is also someone I want to start. Double-digit points last 2 weeks. He's been pretty efficient. He's been involved in the passing game too. Joshua Kelly is... he's disappeared after the great start of the season. So I like Kalen Ballage, RB2 this week. I think he gets 16-plus points. Jamison Crowder, are we starting him? Yeah. In PPR leagues, yes. Rashad Perryman, if you need massive upside, yeah. If you need upside, you can start him as a flex. Keenan Allen, we're starting. Mike Williams, we're starting. All right. Don't need to go deep into that. Next one should be interesting because we've got Packers Colts. This I think is going to be a lot closer than people think. I think the Colts can pull this one out. Rodgers started off hot. He's been hot. He's been great. We're starting him. I know it's not a good matchup, but we're starting him. Phillip Rivers, I'm not interested in starting. Not the worst option, but we're not starting him. Running backs. Now this is where it gets interesting because we're starting Aaron Jones, obviously. But what do you do with the Colts? The Colts running backs are very, very gross and weird. Nyheim Hines. Do we want to start Nyheim Hines? Or do we want to start Jonathan Taylor? The obvious choice would be Nyheim Hines. He's got the great sandwich of 21 points, 5 points, 28 points. And I think Nyheim Hines is someone we're starting, especially in these PPR leagues, because the Packers have been dreadful against the run, especially runners who catch the ball. But I'm also going to say Jonathan Taylor is a very ugly but profit-approved start this week. I was out on him after that Baltimore game. I was out on him. I declared him, pretty much a bust. Tennessee, he busted again. He's been inefficient, hasn't done anything. But against Green Bay, I think he can get a touchdown and 50 yards. I think he can get a touchdown and 50 yards, 10, 11, 12 fantasy points from Jonathan Taylor. And there is that chance, that little chance that for some reason on that opening possession where they determine who's going to be the lead back, he comes out with more juice than Nyheim Hines, and it's his backfield. That's what I'm going to say about Jonathan Taylor. He's one of the profit-approved, ugly, disgusting, gross starts of the week. I'm starting Hines as an RB2 with upside and Taylor as a low-end RB3 with a hope that Hines, for some reason, something goes horribly wrong and he can't play well. Michael Pittman, are we starting? Yes, we are. I think he continues this streak. Look, 9 points against Baltimore. We said, hey, this guy is pretty good. I made the video last week in PrizePicks. I chose the over for Michael Pittman. He hit that over 20 points, 8 receptions, 7 yards. He's become the number one wide receiver in this offense. Green Bay, I think he's startable. Devonte Adams, you're starting. I don't need to tell you that. Is Ellen Lazard playing? We don't know. We don't know. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, hard to trust. Not really interested. Devonte Adams, Aaron Jones, and Rodgers are the only guys I'm purposefully starting on this roster. Zach Pascal, are we interested in? Not really, no. Alrighty, moving on to Cowboys versus Vikings. We're making good time, guys. We're making good times on this podcast. Cowboys, are we starting Andy Dalton? No. Are we starting Ezekiel Elliott? Yes, but we're not happy about it. We're not happy about it. 3 straight weeks without 10 points. And this is PPR, guys. He's been bad. You can make a lot of excuses. His quarterback is injured. The offensive line is bad, and they've been horrible matchups. Nonetheless, the numbers are the numbers, and they don't lie. He's been bad. Minnesota, this is a type of matchup he could have a better game. This is a great matchup. You just worry that Dalvin Cook gets up so much in the beginning that the Cowboys can't really even run with their Ezekiel Elliott. He hasn't had the volume we'd hoped for. Next one, Omari Cooper. Are we starting? A low-end wide receiver 2, I think. CeeDee Lamb. He looks to bounce back against Minnesota. Minnesota is a good matchup. Low-end wide receiver 3. And then Michael Gallup. Not starting. So low-end wide receiver 2, low-end wide receiver 3. Michael Gallup not starting. On this other side of the ball, Kirk Cousins, I think, is a good start. I think Dalvin Cook, obviously, we're starting. We know that. And then Thielen, we're starting. And Justin Jefferson, we are starting again. Justin Jefferson is having one of the best rookie seasons for a wide receiver ever. And no one's talking about it. He's having one of the best rookie wide receiver seasons ever. And no one is talking about it. Justin Jefferson, I love him. I love him this week against Dallas. I love him next week against Carolina and Jacksonville. I made the article on Instagram several weeks ago about Justin Jefferson rest of the season. I stand by what I said in that. So I'm starting Justin Jefferson this week again. I think he can put up, another 18-plus game. Alrighty, Kansas City versus Vegas. Patrick Mahomes, we're starting. Derek Carr is startable, guys. For some reason, he does well against Kansas City. I don't know why. He just does. We've seen it last year, or no, not last year. He didn't, but I don't know. I'm not excited about Derek Carr, but last time they played, he got 25 points. He's been a decent quarterback. I think he can be started. I'm not excited about him though. But you can start him in this matchup. I think he can have a good game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire starting low end RB2, low end RB2, and then Josh Jacobs, who are starting. He should have a good week. He's been very boomer bust, but there's always that possibility of 40 points. We're starting him. Devonte Booker, though, I am starting too. 2 straight good games. He's efficient. He's getting quite a few touches, and he's getting touchdowns. I'm starting Devonte Booker. Guys, I think he's a good start this week. It seems weird to say, but Devonte Booker is someone to start. Tyreek Hill, we're obviously starting. Henry Ruggs, Renfro, Aguilar, not excited about any of them at all. Ruggs has the most upside, but you can't trust him. Renfro, a low-end flex option. Darren Waller, though, we're starting. He's going to be the best wide receiver there. All right, last matchup to talk about. we've got Rams versus Buccaneers. Jared Goff not starting. He has not had 20 points since week 5. Not starting him. This is a good defense, a good secondary, a good pass rush. Not starting Goff. Not starting Tom Brady either. All right? Not starting either of those guys. Brady had the huge bounce back against Carolina, but the Rams, they shut down Wilson. They got so much pressure on him. I think they're going to wreak havoc on Brady. Darrell Henderson, are we starting him? I'm not trusting him. Malcolm Brown, are we starting him? I'm not really trusting him. Cam Akers, are we starting him? I'm not really trusting him. I'm not trusting any of those guys in this matchup. Ronald Jones, obviously we have to start after last week. He's going to break your heart, though. He's going to break your heart. Leonard Fournette, he's not going to be really good in fantasy, but I think people are going to be extremely frustrated this week when Ronald Jones gets pulled out of the game halfway through and Leonard Fournette comes back in. It's going to be very frustrating because last week he made the mistakes and they kept him in and he had the 98-yard touchdown. I think for some reason this week Fournette gets in and Ronald Jones has the bad week. I just think that's going to happen. Now, we're still starting Ronald Jones, and I'm not really going to trust Leonard Fournette and start him, but I think that could happen. I think that could be a possibility in this pass rush. Kupp has not been great. Woods has not been great. Joshua Reynolds has been okay, but not great. Not excited about any of them. Godwin has not been great. Mike Evans has not been great. Antonio Brown has not been great. But I'm starting all 3 of those guys. Even though they have not been great, and I'm not expecting a good week from Brady, I think they're all right now must starts. All right? All right. My comment section is weird right now. All righty. So that is the last of the matchups that I was going to talk about, and now we're going to talk a little bit about the prize picks because this is a very interesting week, a lot of fun matchups, and I want to talk about which guys am I going to choose for the over and the unders. So before I say who I'm going to choose, I want you guys to remember, go to PrizePicks.com. The link is in my bio. Use promo code PROFIT, and you will receive a 100% match up to $100. And you will also, when you make that deposit, be entered to win a free James Robinson autographed mini helmet. You're going to be entered to win an NFL jersey of your choice. And you're also going to be entered to win Madden 21. So it's a great giveaway, massive giveaway. Really appreciate the support. Let's talk about who we're taking for the over and the under. Julio Jones, projected 17 points. Mike Davis, 15.8. Nick Chubb, 15.6. Miles Sanders, 15.5. Michael Thomas, 14. Kamara, 21. Travis Fulgham, 12. Tyler Boyd, we've got at 14. Gibson at 14. Terry McLaurin at 18. Higgins at 14. McKissick at 13. A bunch of more guys. Robbie Anderson at 15. Who is standing out to me? Alrighty. I think the first guy standing out to me is J.D. McKissick at 13 points. In a PPR scoring format, I think he gets more than 13 points. Heck, he had 13 targets last week. He's been very, very efficient, and he's been great in the passing game. I'm going with the over on J.D. McKissick. Travis Fulgham, 12 points. That seems a little low to me. I think Travis Fulgham does better than 12 points in a PPR league. Next one, I'm going to go with Will Fuller at 14 points. I don't think he cracks 14 points this week. I think that the Patriots lock him down. Next, I'm going to go with James Robinson at 14 points. And then I'm going to pick one last final one with Terry McLaurin at 18 points. Alrighty. So I'm going to go with the over on J.D. McKissick, the over on Fulgham, the under on Will Fuller, the over on James Robinson, and the over on Terry McLaurin. Alrighty, we're doing a lot. We're doing a lot of picks. I'm gonna do the flex play, which basically means that if you get 5 correct, you get 10 times the money that you put in. If you get 4 right, you get 2 times. And if you get 3 right, you get 0.4 times. Basically meaning you can get a couple wrong and still make money. And I'm gonna put $10 on, meaning if I win this all, if I get them all right, I get $100. That sounds pretty good to me. Sounds pretty good to me. So I'm gonna go place entry. Just like that, I have submitted my entry. I'll read it back to you guys so you can set your line up and try to either compete with me or trust me, whatever you want to do. So I'll read it back to you. I've got McLaurin, 18 points on the over, Robinson, 14 points over, Will Fuller, 14 points under, Travis Fulgham, 12 points over, and JD McKissick, 13 points over. Make sure you use the promo code PROFIT when you deposit, and you're going to be entered in this amazing giveaway. Alrighty, guys, that is the end of this podcast, this week 11 podcast. It was a good one. I'm gonna be honest. I think it was a good podcast. So yeah, I'm gonna end the stream right now. And thank you guys for listening. Make sure you head over and do the PrizePicks entry. Make sure you give the podcast a 5-star review. And make sure you follow me on every platform, including make sure you go follow my personal Instagram, Kelly_baby02. KellyBaby02. That is my personal Instagram. I need more clout on my personal Instagram so that people will love me. That's honestly all I care about. I'm just kidding. I don't actually care, but if you want to go follow that, that is my personal. All right, guys. I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening.